Alright, so let's test this. So when the form opens, everything is blank. Let's add a customer. So it's gonna be Pavel and seat 2, let's say A. Add, and you can see that once I click add passenger, the passenger is added to the seat 2A, and all the other seats are being displayed as empty. So let's add another, let's say Pavel 2, and this one will be at 2D. I'll add the passenger, and 2D seat is now taken. Let's add another Pavel, so we have a duplicate name, which is okay, we can have that. And let's say 10D, and you can see 10D is being added. And let's say I want now Peter on 10D. I'll click add passenger, but I can't because seat is taken. You can see that 10D is taken, so we have to select a different seat. So let's try to do something like 11D, which is incorrect seat. Add passenger, and you can see that valid seat row is required. And if I do, let's say 10, but F, for example, again, the valid seat column is required. And if I forget the name, then it says name is required. So let's try to delete a passenger. First, let's try without the name. I'll click delete, and it says please enter passenger's name. So let's display Pavel. And you can see that it displays Pavel, but it also displays Pavel 2. So something's wrong because only two names should be displayed, Pavel at 2A seat and Pavel at 2D seat. Pavel 2 does not match the search string. So we'll look into that, but for now let me just see if I can show all passengers. And I have 3 passengers with seat 2A, 2D and 10D. And notice that they are ordered by seats, not by the name. Obviously Pavel 2 would be after Pavel alphabetically, but because the seat is 2D for Pavel 2, it shows before Pavel, who has 10D seat. So these things seem to be working correctly, but let me have a look at what's going on with the delete, because again, if I click delete passenger, I get all 3 passengers instead of just the one that we are searching for, that is Pavel. So in our form, in the delete method, you can see we have the found passengers that finds the passengers by name. And I can see already what's going on. This is a list of all passengers, and then we open it in our form. And when we look in our form, over here we have the found passengers, and we call in the passengers list instead of the found passengers. That's actually wrong. And we couldn't actually call found passengers because we declared it over here, which is not correct either. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna copy this, the found passengers, and I'm gonna make it a static list just like our passengers. So it's going to be public static list of passenger type, and I'll call it found passengers. So let me just search for it quickly. So here it is. It's already declared. So here we will assign all the names that are found by name, and then we check if any of the names was found. And if at least one name was found, we go to our lookups form with the delete view mode. So let's go to our view lookups form, and over here you can see that we have our found passenger list that we declared, and we are just calling passengers list, which has all the passengers. So when we go and click add delete passenger or show passengers, it simply calls the same list. So that's what we have to change here. The found passengers list will contain a list based on view mode. So if our view mode is delete, then we will call the found passengers list. Otherwise, we will display all passengers by calling the passengers list. So we will assign the list of names based on the view mode. So our found passengers will equal the view mode. If the view mode equals delete, Then we are in a delete mode, and then we want to call the frm reservations dot found passengers list. Otherwise, we'll simply call the passengers list, which has all the names. And I think this should actually fix it, so let's run it. So let's try that. I'll add Pavel to A, another Pavel at 2D, and let's say Pavel 2 at 3D. So we have 3 names. So when I click show passengers, I have all 3 passengers. Now if I click delete passenger, then Pavel 2 should be displayed only, and it is correct. If I search for Pavel, then I should have 2 names, because I have 2 passengers named Pavel, and that is correct as well. So when I go and delete one, so let's say I delete the 2D, so when I click yes, it should delete the passenger on the seat 2D, and you can see the 2D is now empty seat, so this is working correctly. So let's now test also the waiting list, but I don't want to add 40 names. Instead, what I'm going to do, I'm going to the form here, and I'm just going to change the condition for the full plane. Instead of number of seated passengers being 39, that meaning that 1 passenger was just deleted, I only have 3 passengers to do that. In other words, up here, I'm going to change it also to, instead of 40 passengers, to only have 4 passengers for the plane to be full. So let's run it, and I'm going to add 4 passengers. I'm going to add Pavel, let's say 1C, Pavel 2, add 2A, Pavel 3, let's say this can be 5A, and another Pavel, let's say at 10D. So now we have 4 passengers, so the plane should be full. If I try to add, let's say, Pavel 5 to seat 6D, I get a message that the plane is full. Place passenger on the waiting list. I'll click no for now, and nothing happened. If I click show passengers, I still have just 4 passengers. So this time, let's add him, and click yes. And if I go to show passengers, now Pavel 5 is added to the list with no seat assigned, because Pavel 5 is on waiting list. So let's now delete a passenger. Let's say I'm going to delete one of Pavel's. I have 2 passengers of that name, and I'm going to delete 10D. And you can see that passenger Pavel was removed from the list, and Pavel 5, which was the passenger on the waiting list, was moved from the waiting list to seat 10D. 10D is still taken. If I click show passengers, 10D now belongs to Pavel 5. So let's now add 2 more passengers to the waiting list. Let's say 1A, I'll try, but the plane is full, passenger on the waiting list, and Peter 2, again, I'll place on waiting list. So now when I go show passengers, I have 2 passengers on the waiting list, and I'm going to delete Pavel 5, and it's seat 10D. If I delete this name, again, I have passenger Peter, not Peter 2, but Peter, because that one was higher on the waiting list. That one was entered first. This one now has the seat 10D. If I click show passengers, 10D now belongs to Peter. Peter 2 is still on the waiting list. Alright, so I think we have it working, and you can see that the list is populating correctly. The delete and show passengers now work correctly as well, as also add passenger works correctly. So with this, I hope you like this exercise. I hope there was at least something that you learned, something new, and that you had a good practice of what you already knew before starting this exercise as well. So with that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in some other video.